Every morning, the world asks you a quiet question. Not loudly, not dramatically. It simply asks, who are you going to be today? Most people think winning is something that happens once, a big moment, a trophy, a headline. But real winners understand something different. Winning is not an event. It's a daily decision. You don't win your life in a single breakthrough. You win it in how you show up when no one is watching, in how you speak to yourself, in the standards you refuse to lower, in the choices you make on the most ordinary days. Because if you can learn how to win today, you won't need luck tomorrow. Most people begin their day asking a simple question: what do I need to do today? But the people who consistently win every day ask a very different question: why does today matter? Because routines without reason eventually collapse. You can wake up early, you can follow schedules, you can copy habits from successful people, but if there is no deeper meaning behind your actions, discipline becomes exhausting. Purpose is what makes effort sustainable. When you know why you're doing something, you don't need constant motivation to keep going. You move forward even on days when energy is low, confidence is missing, and results feel far away. Winning every day starts the moment you stop letting your calendar define you and start letting your values guide you. A reason gives direction to your decisions. It helps you say no to distractions that look good but lead nowhere. It gives clarity when everything feels noisy. Without a reason, people chase productivity. With a reason, people create impact. Think about how many people wake up busy but not fulfilled. They rush through tasks, meetings, messages, and obligations, yet feel strangely empty at the end of the day. That emptiness doesn't come from lack of achievement. It comes from lack of alignment. When your actions don't match what you believe in, even success feels hollow. A reason doesn't have to be grand or dramatic. It doesn't need to change the world overnight. Sometimes it's as simple as becoming someone your family can rely on. Sometimes it's about proving to yourself that you can keep a promise. Sometimes it's about growing 1% better than yesterday. What matters is that it's yours. Borrowed purpose fades, chosen purpose lasts. When you start with a reason, failure changes meaning. Failure no longer feels like a stop sign. It becomes feedback. You don't quit because things get hard, because your commitment isn't to comfort. It's to something bigger. You don't ask, is this easy? You ask, is this worth it? This is why leaders who inspire others don't talk first about what they do. They talk about why they do it. People don't follow plans, they follow belief, and that belief begins internally before it ever shows externally. Winning every day is not about squeezing more tasks into your schedule. It's about removing the things that don't serve your reason. It's about doing fewer things with more intention. When your reason is clear, even small actions feel powerful. A single conversation matters. A single decision matters. A single disciplined moment compounds. Purpose turns ordinary days into meaningful ones. It transforms routine into ritual. It turns effort into contribution. And when you operate from a reason instead of a routine, you stop needing external validation to feel successful. You measure your day not by how busy you were, but by how true you were to what you believe matters most. Because the strongest form of consistency is not habit, it is belief. And belief is what carries you through uncertainty, resistance, and doubt, shaping every decision from the moment you open your eyes in the morning to the way you choose to show up in the world when no one is keeping score. Most people grow up believing that winning means being ahead of someone else. More money, more recognition, more applause. From an early age, we are taught to compare, to measure, to rank. And slowly, without realizing it, we start defining our worth by how we look next to others. But that definition is fragile because there will always be someone faster, richer, louder, or further along. Daily winners understand something different. Winning is not about comparison. It's about alignment. It's about becoming more of who you said you wanted to be, regardless of who is standing next to you. When you redefine winning this way, pressure decreases and clarity increases. You stop running someone else's race and start paying attention to your own direction. When winning is defined externally, you live in constant tension. A good day depends on approval. A bad day feels like failure. But when winning is internal, progress becomes personal. A day can be difficult and still be a win. A day can be quiet and still move you forward. The goal is no longer to impress. The goal is to improve. This shift changes how you experience setbacks. If winning is beating others, then losing feels final. But if winning is growth, then every challenge becomes useful. You begin asking better questions, not why is this happening to me, but what is this teaching me? Not how do I look, but who am I becoming? Redefining winning also reshapes how you treat others. When success is a competition, other people become obstacles. When success is alignment, other people become collaborators. You stop needing others to lose for you to feel successful. You start valuing contribution over comparison, trust over control, and progress over perfection. Many people are exhausted, not because they are doing too much, but because they are chasing the wrong definition of success. They are winning trophies they don't even care about. They are living lives that look impressive but feel empty. That emptiness is a signal, not a failure. It's an invitation to pause and ask what winning actually means to you. True daily wins are often invisible. Choosing integrity when cutting corners would be easier. Showing up with consistency when motivation is gone, listening instead of reacting, learning instead of blaming. These moments don't earn applause, but they build character, and character compounds quietly. When you redefine winning, your days become lighter. You stop needing constant proof that you are enough. You stop outsourcing your self-worth to metrics you can't fully control. You begin measuring success by effort, honesty, and intention. Winning every day isn't about crossing a finish line ahead of others. It's about crossing the day, knowing you acted in alignment with your values, made progress in the direction that matters to you, and chose growth over ego, even when no one noticed and nothing spectacular happened on the surface. Most people wait for motivation to act. They wait for the right mood, the right time, the perfect surge of energy. And when that motivation doesn't show up, nothing happens, days pass, then weeks, and eventually they convince themselves that progress requires some dramatic moment. But daily winners know a quieter truth. Progress is built through small actions done consistently, not through big efforts done occasionally. Small actions feel insignificant in the moment. One page read, one honest conversation, one disciplined choice. Alone, they don't feel powerful. That's why most people dismiss them. But consistency gives small actions something most people underestimate, momentum. And momentum changes everything. Big efforts rely on emotion. Small, consistent actions rely on identity. When you show up daily, even in small ways, you start to see yourself differently. You're no longer someone who is trying, you become someone who does. That shift in identity is far more powerful than motivation, because identity doesn't disappear when things get hard. This is why people who chase shortcuts often burn out. They push hard for a short period, then collapse when results don't arrive fast enough. They mistake intensity for effectiveness, but intensity without consistency is unstable. Consistency builds trust, first with yourself, then with others. Every small action kept is a promise honored, and self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Small actions also remove the fear of failure. When the goal is massive, fear grows massive too. But when the goal is small, fear shrinks. It becomes easier to start, easier to continue, easier to recover when you miss a day. Progress stops being dramatic and starts being dependable. Daily winners don't ask, how much can I do today? They ask, what is the smallest action I can take that still moves me forward? That question changes behavior. It replaces overwhelm with clarity. It makes progress accessible on good days and bad days alike. Consistency also compounds in ways you can't immediately see. Just like interest in a bank account, effort accumulates quietly before it becomes obvious. Most people quit during the quiet phase because they don't see immediate proof. But those who keep going eventually reach a point where progress accelerates. What once felt slow suddenly feels inevitable. Small actions shape discipline. Discipline isn't about control, it's about commitment. It's about doing what matters even when it doesn't excite you. And the more often you act in alignment with what matters, the less effort it takes to continue. Winning every day doesn't require heroic effort. It requires reliability. Showing up when it's boring, when it's inconvenient, when no one is watching. Small actions repeated daily turn ordinary people into extraordinary examples of what steady commitment can create over time without noise, without shortcuts, and without the need for dramatic breakthroughs. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail because they choose comfort too often. Comfort feels safe. It feels familiar. It promises relief in the moment. And that's why it's so seductive. But comfort has a hidden cost. Every time you choose what's easy over what's meaningful, you trade long-term fulfillment for short-term relief. Daily winners understand that growth and comfort rarely exist in the same place. If something is stretching you, it will feel uncomfortable. If it's challenging your habits, it will feel inconvenient. And if it's helping you grow into a better version of yourself, it will almost never feel easy in the moment. That discomfort is not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a signal that you're doing something that matters. Short-term comfort speaks loudly. It urges you to delay, to avoid, to justify. It tells you there will be time later. Long-term fulfillment speaks quietly. It doesn't rush you, but it asks for consistency. It doesn't demand perfection, but it requires commitment. The people who win every day learn to listen to the quieter voice. Choosing fulfillment over comfort changes how you make decisions. You stop asking what feels good right now and start asking what will matter later. You begin investing in habits that don't give instant rewards but create lasting impact. Learning when entertainment would be easier. Speaking up when silence would feel safer. Resting with intention instead of escaping responsibility. This choice also builds resilience. When you regularly choose the harder right over the easier wrong, you train yourself to handle difficulty. Challenges stop feeling like threats and start feeling like part of the process. You no longer need perfect conditions to move forward. You carry your discipline with you. Many people confuse happiness with ease, but real fulfillment often comes from effort, progress, and contribution. It comes from knowing you did something meaningful even when it was uncomfortable. That kind of satisfaction lasts longer than pleasure because it's rooted in purpose, not convenience. Comfort keeps you where you are. Fulfillment moves you toward who you want to become. And the distance between those two is crossed one decision at a time. No dramatic leap, just daily choices made with intention. When you consistently choose long-term fulfillment, your confidence grows quietly. You begin to trust yourself. You know that when things get hard, you won't immediately retreat. That self-trust becomes a source of calm strength. You're no longer afraid of discomfort because you've proven you can move through it. Winning every day isn't about denying yourself joy. It's about choosing the kind of joy that lasts. The kind that comes from growth, contribution, and integrity. And over time, those choices shape a life that feels meaningful, steady, and deeply satisfying, even on the days that demand more than they give. The strongest form of success is not what you achieve for yourself, but what changes because you showed up. Many people chase wins that are visible, titles, numbers, recognition. But daily winners measure success by something quieter and far more powerful, the positive effect they have on the people around them. Serving others is not about self-sacrifice or losing ambition. It's about understanding that leadership begins with responsibility. When you help someone grow, you don't shrink, you expand, you create trust. And trust is the foundation of influence that lasts longer than authority or status. Daily winners ask a different kind of question. Not how do I get ahead, but how do I help? That shift changes behavior. You listen more. You speak with intention. You become aware of how your words, energy, and actions affect others. Leadership stops being a role and becomes a practice. When you focus on serving, competition loses its grip. You no longer see people as obstacles to overcome, but as individuals to support. Collaboration replaces comparison. Contribution replaces ego. And paradoxically, this mindset often leads to greater success because people naturally gravitate toward those who make them feel valued and understood. Leaving people better than you found them doesn't require grand gestures. It happens in small moments, offering clarity when someone feels lost, showing patience when someone makes a mistake, giving credit instead of taking it. These actions don't attract applause, but they create loyalty and respect. True leaders don't create followers. They create more leaders. They invest time, energy, and belief into others, even when there is no immediate return. that investment compounds. People remember how you made them feel long after they forget what you said or did. Service also grounds you. It reminds you that success is not a solo journey. No one wins alone. Every achievement is built on trust, support, and shared effort. When you recognize this, gratitude replaces entitlement and humility replaces arrogance. Daily winners understand that impact outlives achievement. Titles fade, numbers change, but the confidence you help someone build, the courage you inspire, the example you set, those things continue long after the moment passes. Your influence becomes part of someone else's story. Leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge. When people feel safe, seen, and supported, they do their best work. And when you create that environment, success becomes sustainable. Winning every day means choosing to be someone others can rely on, someone who lifts instead of limits, someone who adds value wherever they go. And over time, that commitment to service turns ordinary interactions into meaningful impact, shaping not just results, but relationships, culture, and lives in ways that quietly endure beyond any measurable outcome.